Well, it is happening. Thailand and Cambodia are in Malaysia for talks. Fighting still hasn't stopped, tensions are still high, but can Malaysia diffuse the tensions? This is what I intend to address in today's video. Let me also make it clear that I do not have insider information on what is going to happen. My discussion here today is based on general diplomatic practices and examples from other parts of the world. Just in case if you're wondering whether Malaysia has experience doing this kind of work or whether it is getting itself into something new, let me assure you that Malaysia has plenty of experience. For example, in the early 2000s, Malaysia hosted the talks between the Philippines government and the Bangsa and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, which had been raging war in the southern part of the Philippines. The talks lasted over a decade. It culminated in an agreement which created the Bangsa Moro Autonomous Region. I think it was sometime in 2014. Malaysia has also, played a role in the Aceh peace talks. Ultimately, the talks culminated in Helsinki, but it was seated in Kuala Lumpur. Then you have examples of Malaysia providing venue for talks between the United States and North Korea in Kuala Lumpur. One was also in the early 2000s. This is just before North Korea was eventually admitted as a participant in the ASEAN Regional Forum. So Malaysia has plenty of experience, and in the past we had many officials who have been experienced well enough in this kind of work. And so let us look at the current conflict that we're talking about, the war between Thailand and Cambodia. For one, it is a war between two very unequal partners. Cambodia is small, is weak, and Thailand is much bigger, has a bigger army, and it is much more powerful. Both are ASEAN members, and therefore it is the duty of Malaysia as the chair to try and do its part to diffuse the conflict. Cambodia, of course, being the smaller country, and as most small countries would do, has an interest to try and bring in outside partners, to so-called internationalize the conflict. It would want to have the US, somehow involved, and perhaps even China. Thailand, on the other hand, certainly wants this to be kept as a bilateral, and it wants to have direct discussions with Cambodia to resolve this. There's one point that I want you to keep in mind. The fact that both Cambodia and Thailand have decided to come to Malaysia for these talks shows that both of them recognize that this is an ASEAN issue and that ASEAN is the vehicle to resolve this issue. I have to stress this point because international media tends to portray this as a conflict between two countries which are not related to ASEAN. But the reality is that ASEAN is in charge here, and ASEAN is trying its best to resolve this conflict between its members. So now we come to the important question. What is it that the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim can actually do? Well, let me tell you. The fact that he has managed to get Thailand and Cambodia to come to Putrajaya to talks is already a great big step. He has done the essential. As a chair, he has done what is most important, that is to get these two warring partners or countries to come to the table to talk about it. So that's number one. Number two, well, they're going to be here in Putrajaya today. What is exactly that Malaysia can do? From the examples that I've given to you earlier, Malaysia's primary role is to provide the venue. It is a good host. It provides a safe venue for both these countries to come and talk and to air out their views, and to perhaps find a way forward. Number two, Malaysia can be a good listener. Naturally, it does not take sides with either one of them because both Cambodia and Thailand are not only members of ASEAN, but also close friends of Malaysia as well. So we have an interest to, be entirely neutral in this issue. We are not taking sides. So number one, provide the venue, be a good host, and be a good listener. What can be done after that? Well, it depends on what happens at these talks. perhaps suggestions of some kind of a phased approach can be examined. Perhaps humanitarian corridors first, some kind of limited ceasefire leading on to a complete ceasefire, not taking a very long time but very quickly in succession forward. Depending also on how these talks take place, perhaps Malaysia can propose some sort of creation of a contact point, an ASEAN contact group perhaps on this conflict, made up of some members of ASEAN in it. It may also be open to other countries, if it is acceptable to both Cambodia and Thailand. It could include other countries as well, this contact group. And the job of the contact group is to actually provide continuity from the talks that are going to take place today on the very details. Then, of course, the question of the ASEAN Secretariat will naturally come into the picture. I suspect that it may not be very easy for the ASEAN Secretary General or the Secretariat to play a role in this matter, because the Secretary General, being Cambodian, might be objected by Thailand. Just my guess, I could be entirely wrong. So it can be, the contact group that is being created should be something that is, more general in nature. And then I read in the news that the US would be sending officials to the talks as well, maybe even China. So that would be another role for Malaysia to play, which is to make sure that the ASEAN centrality actually holds. What it means is that Malaysia must take the lead in ensuring that these talks are not influenced or pushed or or otherwise influenced by either of these two countries. So the talks in Kuala Lumpur are not just ordinary talks. This dispute is not just another dispute. It is in fact a defining moment for ASEAN. Well, since this conflict broke out, there has been insinuation that ASEAN has been quite ineffective, but today is the time and the moment to show that ASEAN actually has a game plan. These talks are essential. They are here to at least provide the way, and it's for ASEAN now to demonstrate to the rest of the world that it can manage its own affairs. And before I go, let me also add that this conflict, I think, is a sign that ASEAN needs to get back to its drawing board. And I shall speak on this in greater detail in another video, because conflicts like this should really not happen in ASEAN. The fact that it has happened shows that there is something fundamental that has to be addressed by ASEAN. So watch out for that video. For today, I hope you would be able to hit the like button and subscribe to this video. Thank you very much.